Well, Kamisha, I think that we could go ahead and get started. We have a great crowd here today. We're so glad that you've joined us. I would like to introduce our trainer from Follett. Her name is Kamisha Deshager. She will be talking to us about Follett Discover adoption resources and helping us think, I think, from the perspective of the concierge, correct? So that is folks who are assisting others in textbook adoption. So I'm just going to turn it straight to you and thank you for being here.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you guys for having me. So just a little bit about Discover. It is an adoption platform where faculty can submit their adoptions, and they can also research new materials to discover for their classes. And it is also a portal where students can, it provides students an easy pathway to purchase their materials. We have additional workflows that we can put in place in Discover besides our faculty users, and that would be the concierge and department administrator roles. So for the concierge user, this would be someone who is typically an administrative assistant or department secretary who is in charge of submitting adoptions on behalf of faculty. So you can imagine this person is submitting adoptions on behalf of entire departments. Whereas our department administrator role, this would be someone if you would like to have a approval and review process for adoptions on your campus. So the department administrator role would be responsible for reviewing and approving adoptions that are submitted by faculty or concierge users. So we'll cover those roles, the concierge and the department administrator today. And while both roles have some similarities, they are definitely very different. So with that, let me start sharing my screen. Give me just a moment here. Okay. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Looks good.
Yes.
All right, wonderful. So you would access, how you would access Discover is you would contact your campus store manager to have an account created. And they would simply need to know your email address, which you would be using as your login account, and any departments that you would need access to. So those are the pieces of information that your bookstore manager would need in order to set up your account. Once they set up your account, you would receive an activation email. And in that activation email, you will receive a link to set up a password. So you would set up a password in your initial account, and also the URL that you would use to log into Discover would be contained in that email as well. So once your account is set up, this is how you would access Discover, by entering in your campus-specific Follett Discover URL. And you would land on the My Courses page. And for concierge users, we really make the experience geared towards quick adoption entry. As I mentioned earlier, you probably have a stack of spreadsheets of adoptions that you're trying to get entered. So we created this neat little feature that we call the 13-digit ISBN adoption. So you can quickly enter the, on the front of the course card here, you can enter the 13-digit ISBN in this search field box here and click adopt. And that will adopt the material for your course. Now, I'm not going to actually submit an adoption because I'm using a live site here, so I don't want to scare anyone, but just so you know, that's how you can quickly enter your adoptions. You can enter the 13-digit ISBN, click adopt, and move on about your day. One thing to note is that adoptions are auto-adopted to all sections of the course. So if you would like to manage your courses by section, let's say there's different instructors teaching each section, or they're using different materials for each section, then you would click this Manage by Section link to separate the course out into sections. And you can see here now, I'm looking at Chinese 1121, section 4690, and also 4691. And you can actually see here that there are different materials being used for these different sections. So where we have a course material being used for the first section, there's nothing required for the second section. And once you're done adopting, or you determine that you don't need to manage by section, you can click on the course card. That's what we call these little boxes here on the home page. You can click on the course card, and you can also do undo manage by section. So if you feel it's not something you need to do, you can undo manage by section, and you go right back to managing by course. So that's how that works. You can see here, you can select between the available terms. You can also view different departments that you have access to. So looks like I don't have any of these courses yet, but you can filter between the different departments that you have access to. And you can also search for courses by course number. So this comes in handy if your campus uses, let's say, cross-listed courses where it's the same course, but it qualifies under different departments. So typically those courses have the same course number. So you could search for, 100 level, for example, and enter the adoption for both of those courses that would appear under different departments. So that's interacting with the course cards, being able to filter and sort through terms and departments. You also have the ability to search for materials using our global search up here in the upper right-hand corner. You can search by keyword, author, title, or 13-digit ISBN. So let's go ahead and do a search there. And you can see that we have some search results here. You'll notice that our search results are ordered in a tabbed fashion. So on the first tab, we have our traditional publisher materials. Second tab, we have supplies, everything from goggles to bar charts to lab kits, you name it, we've got it. And then on the third tab, we have our OER tab. And on this publisher material tab, you have the option to filter down your search results. You can enter a discipline and subject to further filter your results. And then you can see your search results here. You can sort them. Just in looking, you can see some general details about the title, such as ISBN and author. And if we wanted to view more information about a title, we could click View Details. And you would see a table of contents as well as purchasing options. So here, this title is available to purchase, to buy. And the pricing that we display in Discover is store specific. So it would be specific to the prices that your students would be paying. And then in order to adopt a title, you would select your department and then your term and your course. And then you would select the material usage. So you could do required, recommended, or choice. And then you would click adopt. Again, I'm not going to actually go ahead and click the adopt button because I don't want to submit that for the store. And then you could also manage the adoption for other courses. So you could adopt this same title to other courses as well. And as you scroll down the page, you'll see that we have listed other related items from the publisher. And you have the option to enter a rating and review. And if you do, this would help others in the Follett Discover community determine if this was something, or how you felt about the title, and if this is something that they would like to use for their course. So you also have, and let's actually go back to the My Courses and let's see here, get a good course. Okay. You can also use what we call the, when you're on the adopted course materials page here, and you can get to that just by clicking the top of the course card. You have these other options in which to adopt materials for the course. So you can click what we call the Discover Course Materials button, and that's going to generate search results based off the subject that you enter for that particular course. For this course, no subject has been entered, so some very general search results have been generated. But if I entered a subject here, then these search results would be based on that subject. So this is how you can utilize the Discover search and really start to research and discover new materials to use for your course. All right, I see we have a question in the chat, or someone's raised their hand here, Maya. Please feel free to take yourself off of mute. And
yes, I have a question. So I have an instructor that she doesn't use a textbook. She uses like a package like with the publisher. And so when she enters her ISB and it doesn't show as a textbook, what can we do in that type of situation?
okay, so yeah, let me go back to this tab and see if this.
You may have said it and I completely missed it.
No, actually, I think it's something I'm going to cover right now. So we'll see if this answers your question. If not, then we'll try to get it answered.
Okay.
So that was the Discover for this course button. Now, in Discover, that we have a plethora of titles in which you can adopt from. But if there's something that you're just not finding in our title database, I mean, there's something like over 10 million titles, but there's always something, again, that may be custom or not yet in our database or fresh off the presses that we don't have. So in that case, if you're looking and it has an ISBN, but you're not finding it, you can use this Add a Title feature to add that title. So you would click Add, and you would enter some basic information such as author, title, and publisher, and any other relevant details that you have about the title. And once you do that, this Add button would activate, and you would, once you click Add, that would send that over as the adoption for the course to your campus bookstore. And they would be able to process that and communicate with you if they had any questions on or needed any clarification on the title. Does that help, Jeremiah?
Yes, that helps. So pretty much she just needs to add all her information regarding the package. And then once it's added, the students can go in and look at that.
So is it a purchase title or is it OER content?
I'm not sure. She just kind of just pretty much just stated that, she doesn't really, because she doesn't really go through the bookstore regarding with the students. She kind of just goes with the publisher, kind of creates her own type of book, because she says she doesn't like most books that come through because it just doesn't help her. So she finds her own data research and all that. And so that's how come she has her own ISBN. And once she has created all that, then she gets it out for the students.
Okay. So, I mean, there's a couple different options we could go through here. So this would be the case if there's like a new title that you're not finding or something like that, and you could add that. And the bookstore would process that request, and it would become available for students to purchase on the bookstore website.
Okay.
In the case, let's say it's open educational resource content that she wanted to add, she could click the Add My Content button, and this is where you can upload files such as a course syllabus or you can link out to existing content on the internet. You know, maybe she's got some self-authored content that she wants to upload, you know, and so for open educational resources, you could use this option. So this is the add my content, where you can link out to existing OER on the internet or upload self-authored content. And you could enter some basic information about the title and description, and attest to the terms and conditions and whether you would like this viewable to everyone in Discover or just your particular students. And again, the add button would activate. If it's something where she's curating custom, she would like to curate custom content for her course, we do have the, for faculty, on the faculty side, we do have our course pack creation tool, that she could create a course pack within Discover through our integration with Xanadu. I don't know if that's an option. Do we have Mario on the call today? I don't know if Mario's here. If you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, if it's a custom pack. Hello everyone. Good morning. Mario Carvajal, store manager for the bookstore. If it's a custom package, and we do have many faculty members that have custom packages that we processed for the fall. If it's a custom package, if you fill out the information on the form that Kamisha showed, then we can work with the publisher and the faculty member to bring that custom package into the store using her ISBN.
Okay, that works perfect. I'll relay that information to her. So, because that was one big question she wanted me to ask, just because she's always had trouble. So that's great. That works perfect.
And then the good thing about it is, though, once Mario and his team do process that request and get that ISBN into our system, it will be available in Discover for future terms. So she won't, or you or her won't have to go through that process again. It will be available.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep. So if she wants to continue to use the same material, that actually, thank you, both of you. That gives me a nice segue into my next topic, which is the My Library. So I'll go ahead and click on that. So we have our My Library feature, and this is where you can add or build a list of reference materials in which to adopt for future terms. So let's see here. I'm going to bring in my materials from summer. Let's see what we have. So this is a previous adoption that I submitted for summer. So now it's available in my library. So I can adopt this material for any term I would like. And you can see you can bring in as many adoptions for previous terms or current terms that you would like. And you can see that this list of materials can grow. So we have put in an organizing feature called shelves. So you can choose to add this material to a shelf, and I'm going to create a shelf here. And this is how you can organize your materials. So you can see here, I've got my all books shelf, I've got my Chinese shelf. So now I'm looking at that particular shelf. I can also do my all book shelf. I only have one book on my shelf, but that's how you can organize your shelves, however you would like to do so. You can also share your materials with your campus community. So if you'd like, if you have new faculty on campus and they'd like to know what you've adopted previously, you can choose the materials that you'd like by hitting that checkbox and enter an email address and click send to recipients, and it's going to send that material to your desired person. You can also click the quick readopt button here to readopt any previous terms adoptions. So that's how you can also do a quick readoption for an upcoming term or for current term. Also, one thing I'd like to go back to the My Courses page to cover is the share feature on the My Courses page. So if you would like to share your adoptions that you've submitted, so if you have, let's say, that department administrator workflow in place and you want to let that person know, like, hey, yep, or even the faculty, like, yep, I've submitted the adoption and, you know, here's my proof. Then you can also click the share adopted materials button from the home page and basically select your course, and it will enter your recipients and click send to recipients, and it's going to send an attachment of the adoption that you submitted for the course. So that's how you can send your proof if you need to. So that's the My Library feature. And then one thing I'd like to cover, we'll just quickly go over the, so those are kind of the main bells and whistles on the Concierge user side. We do also have our department administrator role, and I'll touch on that a little bit now. You can see that I've been granted both roles, both Concierge user and administrator, and we can also have that if so needed. So the great thing about servers, I don't need to log out. I can change my role in the upper right hand corner, and I'm going to enter my administrator experience just so you can see what it looks like. So now I'm in my administrator role, and you can see that now I'm in charge of managing departments or adoptions for particular departments. So on the front of these department cards, I have the option to set adoption permissions, and these permissions are set by department. So I can set them individually for both faculty and concierge users. So by default, every department is going to be set to instructor choice, which means that instructors and concierge users can adopt whatever they would like, and they would have access to the entire Follett library. I can also select instructor choice with review. And if I select this as the permission level, then instructors can still adopt whatever they would like. However, before that adoption is sent over to the campus bookstore for processing, it would make one pit stop to me, and I would have to review that adoption and either approve or reject it. And if I reject it, then a notification is sent back to the sender or to the adoption submitter. And at that point, they can, either contact me as to why my adoption was rejected, or as to why their adoption was rejected, or submit a new adoption. So that's how the instructor choice review process works. So again, instructors have full access to the entire library of titles. However, before the adoption is sent over to the bookstore, it does make a pit stop to the department administrator, and they will need to take action and either approve that adoption or reject it. And once they approve it, it would go straight over to the bookstore for processing. There is also the pre-approved only permission level. And so that's where instructors would only be able to adopt from materials that you've already pre-approved. So here's where you can, and that's basically giving your stamp of approval ahead of time for certain materials. This is great if you're looking to curate a list of materials that your faculty can choose from to adopt. And you can choose this Discover for this course button to start pre-approving materials. So let's say I wanted to view details on this particular title, and you can see here I can see more information about the title, and if I wanted to either add this to my library of reference materials or pre-approve this for, let's say, my health and science department, I could pre-approve this material for that department to adopt from. So this is an additional or an optional workflow that you can choose to put in place for your departments. And it is based on department, so not every department has to have this in place, but it is an optional workflow if that's how you would like to manage departments on your campus. And one thing to cover here, let's go back to my department's homepage. So again, you can start pre-approving materials from the homepage, and it'll take you back to that search results page where you can start to view materials. And you can also approve adoptions from this third button. So I don't have any adoptions here to approve, but if I did, there would be the course listed, and under the course would be the list of materials that have been adopted, and I could approve or reject each of those adoptions from this screen here. So that's about all that I would cover from the department administrator workflow. Now I'd like to cover the adoption dashboard, which both the concierge user and department administrator users have access to. So the dashboard is going to be displaying your adoption permission on your campus. So you can monitor that as you progress throughout the term. You can change your terms up here in the right-hand corner. You can see how your campus is progressing with completed adoptions. You can also keep track of the adoption deadline. And if you're in a multi-campus situation or scenario, you can change your campuses to view different campus statuses and adoption levels. You can also, as you move down the page, you can see it goes from a more high level to a more granular data set, so you can see more granular data. The one thing I do like to look at is this little table down here. This is where I think it's most useful to be able to see adoption progress. So I could select between different campuses, different departments that I have access to, and I can select between different courses. And here is where I can actually see who in fact has or has not completed an adoption. If there is a section where there's no completed adoption, it would say no in this column. And then in the actions column, I could send them a quick reminder to say, hey, you know, just a reminder to submit your adoption. So I could quickly click that link to send them a reminder about their adoption. So that's how you can utilize this section compliance table down here. And this report can be emailed, printed, or exported in CSV or PDF format. You can also save this report as a quick report. So if this is a type of a report that you run quite often, this will save you a step because you don't have to select those different filtering options each time you enter the dashboard. You'll have this report saved for you. So you could save it as whatever you'd like. And once you do that, this report will be available for you here in your quick report section. So once you come into the dashboard, you can click this little caret here and it will generate that report for you on the fly with the updated information. So that's the dashboard. We also have the message center. And the message center is how you can, it's a neat feature. It's our communication hub within Discover and how you can communicate with your bookstore. So you can click contact the campus store and enter a subject and any information in the body that you would like to send to the store. You can even upload attachments and click send to initiate that communication to your campus store. And you will have your email address entered here as your user account. But if there's another email that you use more often, you can change that email by selecting that gear icon, and you can update your email address there. And for any communications that you've initiated, you can follow up through that preferred email address. So you wouldn't have to enter into Discover to keep track of and follow up with already initiated email communication. So But however, all communication would still remain in the message center in Discover. All right, so that about covers what I wanted to cover for our concierge and department administrator roles. And at this time, I'd like to open it up for questions and see if there's any questions that you guys might have. So feel free to, oh, okay, I think we have one from Stephanie.
I may have missed it, but if we have non-textbook materials, can we enter those, or is that something that they will have to pass on to their students?
Yes, you can enter those. I'm trying to find a good course here. Let me try to find one for you. Here we go. Okay. So this is, so if you're looking at this philosophy and humanities course here, this is how a default course card looks like. So this is where an adoption has not yet been submitted. And you can see here, if I started to enter a subject, this Discover for this course button would activate, and I would be able to use that Discover for this course search. So that's another way you can use that. But if my instructor was not using materials and I wanted to send that over as the adoption status for the course, I would click this I have no materials to adopt for this course link. So if you click that link, then that's going to be sent as the notification to your campus store over to Mario and his team. And they're going to mark that as the status of the course so that no materials are being used for the course. Does that answer your question?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then similarly, if the instructor is using OER materials, but they're not adopting anything specific in Discover, they can click this, or you can click this only OER material link, and that will, again, send that over as the notification to Mario and team that OER materials are being used, but nothing specific has been adopted through the bookstore. All right, anything else? I think we have a question from Ruby.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My question is, sometimes we do have coordinators that have assigned somebody a course, but at last minute, they had to change them, and that instructor had already submitted a book order. What do you do in that case?
So you can update the adoption, like if the new instructor is changing the adoption,
Correct.
You can change it, or if it's that instructor, if the instructor would like to submit their adoption, they can also do that. Discover does not retain the adoption once the instructor is changed. So you could, you or that instructor could definitely resubmit an adoption. You may want to just check with Mario and team. I don't know if they may have fully processed the adoption on their end and just maybe send them a note saying, hey, this adoption's changed, but they would see that in their queue. Mario, do you have anything additional you'd like to add to that one for instructor changes?
Yes, we'll receive notification in our online queue, but a quick email to let us know would be great as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and Michelle?
Good morning. My question is regarding which account we need to set up. Is it concierge or department? And the reason I'm asking is I'm a department head, but I have several. I don't do the adoptions. I ask my programs to do them. So I have 4 programs under my area that would be doing adoptions. So do I set up the concierge or the department, or which one would be better?
So you wouldn't be submitting any adoptions then?
Well, I would like to, in the event that one of them are not available. Yes, I would.
Okay. So you would definitely need concierge user access if you occasionally would be in charge of submitting adoptions. Yes, you would need concierge user access. Would you be approving or reviewing any adoptions that have been submitted, or?
Yes.
Okay, so then you would need both roles.
Okay, so then what would my assistant directors need? Would they just need concierge because they're adopting?
Yeah. If their sole role is to adopt materials on behalf of faculty, then all they need is concierge.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
So my chair, typically I just ask the instructors and the professors what they want, and then I always put it in. So I think that was what my chair wanted to do. So does he just set me, like I have him set up an administrator and then him give me the concierge, and then I just go and add it that way? Does he have to go in and approve everything I add, or?
It depends on how you want that workflow to be in place. If he's just like giving you a spreadsheet of titles to enter as the adoption, then
I collect them. So like I ask the instructors, they get back to me, I put them in a spreadsheet, and then I've always added them.
Okay, and so then you would need concierge user access.
Okay.
Is he like approving these adoptions before they get submitted to the bookstore?
Yeah. Nope.
Okay, so if he just wants to kind of see what's going on, you know, how adoptions are, if they're coming in on time, like he can have department administrator role if he just wants to view the dashboard, but it doesn't sound like he is.
No, he's given me like, yeah, he's like, I'm just hands off. He's like, you can take care of it and do it. It's fine.
Yeah, so he really wouldn't need an account, but if he would like to just have access, I mean, you could have access to the dashboard as the department administrator to be able to kind of monitor who has or hasn't submitted an adoption through that section compliance area that I was So just if he just wants insight into that, he could have that. Or
so mine is still concierge then. Okay.
Yes, yours is still concierge because you would be submitting those adoptions. Department administrators cannot submit adoptions. That's the main difference. Concierge, you can think of, they submit adoptions. Department administrators, they're more
progress.
Yes.
They just do the progress. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anything else?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Did you hear anything I said?
I heard, can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Well, I was talking, but I didn't know my phone was on mute. Sorry.
That's all right.
So it may be a dumb question, but how do I get access to this? So I usually, with all of the faculty and instructors, they send me kind of like a list of what they want and what they're going to be teaching. And I usually email the bookstore or I will email the publisher. So what do I need to do in this case? What access do I need?
So are you submitting adoptions on behalf of faculty?
Yes.
Then you would need concierge user access.
Okay.
And you would just send an email to Mario to get that access. You would just send him your email address that you're going to be using for your login and the departments that you need access to.
Wonderful. And I now that you say that, I remember you saying that.
Oh, no worries. It's a lot of information.
And I went ahead and placed my email and the course materials emails in the chat.
Thank you, Mario.
Sweet.
Yeah, no, this is great. I mean, this is what this session is designed for. So I'm glad you guys have these questions. All right. Anything else?
Well, Kamisha, it seems like our questions are winding down. So we just want to thank you again. And Mario, thank you as well for being here. We appreciate your insight and concise training today. So I've put a link in the chat several times to where the recording for this session will be housed and some other materials and contacts. I hope that will be helpful. We appreciate you and thank you everyone for joining us today. Have a great rest of your Friday.
Thank you.
Thanks, you too. Have a good one, everyone.
Take care.